Hey everyone, my name's Lee Harding. I've been a recruiter for almost 20 years, and I also create content that helps people land jobs. And today I'm going to tell you the 7 things that you need to do before your next job interview to make sure that you smash it. So if you've clicked on this video, I'm going to assume that you've got a job interview coming up. If that's the case, well done. That means the hiring manager has already decided that on paper, you've got the relevant skills and experience to probably be able to do the job. The whole purpose of the interview is for the hiring manager to be confident that you actually can do the job and that they can see you working well in their team. And the purpose of the interview for you is for you to decide whether you even want this job, if this is the type of company that you want to work for, and that this is a manager that you want to work with. Preparing for your interview is going to make sure you achieve both of those things. So here are the 7 things that you should be doing when preparing for your job interview, and stick around for the last one because it's a biggie and most people get it wrong. Number 1, know the job description. It sounds really obvious, but make sure you know the job description inside out. Yes, you've read it, but read it again. What are the most important parts of the role? What are the key skills required for the role? And how do your skills and experience line up to enable you to excel in that role? Because these are the key things that you're going to talk about during the job interview. Let's say, for example, you're interviewing for a marketing assistant role. Now, in the job description, it might say that one of the key elements of the role is being really comfortable with social media and producing video content. Now, you might be really, really good at that, but you might also be really, really good at copywriting. But copywriting isn't a key element of the role. So when you're preparing your answers to questions that you will be asked later on, you don't want to focus on your copywriting experience. You want to focus on the part that is actually important to the role. So make sure you know the job description inside out and what those critical skills are. Number 2, know your CV. Again, it sounds really obvious, and you should know what's in it because you've written it. And if you've not bent the truth, then it should be relatively easy to know what's inside your CV. And the reason that you should know your CV inside out is because the interviewer will expect any of the answers to the questions they ask to line up with what you've told them in your CV. So make sure you know your CV inside out. Number 3, research the company. Like, this is standard advice, but what actually does researching the company mean, and how should you do it? So most people, when they're researching the company, they research things like how long the company's existed, how many members of staff it's got, how many offices it's got, or its values. That's not the stuff that you should be researching. The stuff that you should be researching is, who are its customers? Why does the company exist? What's its mission statement? Who are its competitors? What are the biggest challenges facing that company in the current climate? That's the stuff that's going to set you apart from everybody else that's interviewing, because you can tailor the answers to your questions and make them really related to the situation that the company's in. A quick Google search should tell you everything you need to know about the company, but also check their page on LinkedIn, because if they're posting content from their company page, it will tell you a lot about what is going on in the company right now. But also check out places like Glassdoor. See what current and previous employees have said about what it's like to work there. Because again, this will help you when you come to prepare questions that you might want to ask them at the end of the interview. Number 4, research your interviewer. Now, I'm really surprised the number of people that don't actually do this, but the person who is interviewing you is probably going to be your boss if you get this job. So it kind of makes sense to know as much about them as you possibly can. Check them out on LinkedIn. Look for signs as to whether you think they'd be a good manager or not. Like, is this their first management role? Have they been a manager for a long time? What has their career path and career journey looked like? Is it similar to yours? Is it completely left field? Again, having all of this knowledge will, 1, help you figure out whether they're going to be a good boss or not, but then 2, you can ask them questions related to their own lived experience in the workplace. But it also helps you build some rapport. Because if you've got a career path that's similar to theirs, then you can talk about it. If you've got hobbies or interests or passions that, again, are similar to theirs, it can help you build rapport. And ultimately, hiring managers are going to hire people that they like. And most people like people that are like them. That was a tongue twister. Number 5, research the people. Go on LinkedIn and take a look at the people who currently work at that company. More specifically, the people that work in the team that you would be joining if you got this job. Have they been there for a while? Have they been promoted? These are all signs that it's quite a good place to work. Or do people move on quite quickly? Again, that could be an indicator that it's not a particularly great place to work. But by knowing about the people who currently work there and their backgrounds and the type of career path that they've had will give you a really good indicator as to what the hiring manager favors when they're hiring people. Number 6, prepare answers to some of the most common job interview questions. Most interviewers ask the same types of questions. Questions like, tell me about yourself, or what's your biggest weakness, or what is the achievement that you're most proud of, or where do you see yourself in 5 years? If you know that these questions are going to be asked, then you can prepare answers for them. But you can also prepare your answers for them in line with all of the other research you've done about the company, the people that work there, why the company exists, and the key skills and criteria for the role. If you know you're going to get asked these questions, it makes sense to prepare answers for them. Number 7, prepare some questions for your interviewer. Now, this is the big one that most people get wrong. They try and ask clever questions that they think will impress the interviewer. But the truth is, at this stage of the interviewer has probably already made their mind up whether they're going to hire you or not. So nothing you can really ask at this stage will change that opinion. The whole purpose is for you to figure out whether you actually want to work there or not, should they offer you the job. So ask questions that help you make that decision. So prepare some questions that you can ask them about the things that are important to you. Try and avoid really generic questions like what's the culture like here, or what's the work-life balance here like, or what's your leadership style. If you ask very generic questions, you're going to get really generic answers, which won't really tell you anything. Be more specific. Ask questions like, what's the best thing about working here? And what's the most challenging thing about working here and why? Or can you tell me about the last person in your team that got promoted and why they got promoted? That will tell you a lot more about the reality of working for that company and for that manager. If you take the time to properly prepare for your job interview, you're going to be way more relaxed when you go in there and probably perform at your best as well. That's it from me. Good luck with your interview. Let me know how you get on in the comments. Save this video so you can come back to it later. Share it with a friend or family member who might be on the lookout for a new job. Check out all of the links in my description as well below the video, because there's loads of free resources in there that might help as well. And do hit the subscribe button as well. Cheers.